Hey guys, and welcome back to another tank review. Today we will be looking at the T-62A, the Tier 10 Soviet medium tank. Let's get into it. So let's start by going over the pros and cons. It's pretty fast. It has a very powerful turret. It has a very strong and snappy gun. And the turret and tracks traverse quickly. As for the cons, it is not as fast as some of the other Soviet mediums, such as the Object 140. I'm pretty sure the 907 is also faster. And it only has 5 degrees gun depression. That's not so much of an issue as long as you can work with hills, but it does get annoying at times. And it also has weak hull armor. It has a 100mm gun, a 9.09 rate of fire, 264mm of penetration, 320 alpha, 0.34 dispersion, and 2 second aim time. I'm going to quickly go over that because I think it's an important point for the Object 140 versus 62A debate. So the Object 140 and the 62A, they're very similar, and most players, they don't know whether to get the Object 140 or the T-62A. I'm going to give you my opinion at the end of the review, as I feel it's not very important at the moment. But the T-62A's gun, if you compare them, has the same rate of fire, same penetration, same average damage, same weight, but the T-62A has a 0.1 second faster aim time and a 0.01 more dispersion, or less dispersion rather. So that means it's more accurate and aims faster. However, the Object 140 is faster, and the upper hull armor works a lot better, along with the side armor, which can work off some miracle bounces. But this is not a review of the 140, it's a review of the 62A. As for the engine, it has 580 horsepower with a 10% chance of fire. Like I said, the Object 140 is faster than the 62A, and it also has an extra degree of gun depression. But the thing that makes the 62A so strong is the turret. Just last game, actually, I bounced a Jagdpanzer E100 off my turret. It's not unlikely. The only weak spot on the turret is this tiny spot here, and it's so difficult to hit. Most of this area is actually very powerful, and even at the flattest parts, it's still 240mm, which most tanks can't go through reliably anyway. As you get further away from the turret, obviously it's just auto bounce zones everywhere, and I'm pretty sure some areas around here are like 400 to 500mm effective. So the turret is incredibly powerful. The only place you can really be penetrated is in the back, but that's, I mean, if you have the back of your turret pointed at someone, you're kind of doing it wrong. So this tank is a very hull down based vehicle, which makes it a bit tricky, seeing as you only have 5 degrees gun depression. So you have to learn the terrain on the maps very well. An experienced 62A player can easily outplay their enemies by just using that very powerful turret. One thing that has been annoying me for a while about the 62A is that, seeing as the turret is so small, you might think you're hull down, but they might have a shot at the upper plate here, which I've actually done to quite a few 62A drivers. They think they're hull down, but there's a little strip of hull there, and the 62A is accurate enough to hit it. That's another thing. For the 62A's 0.34 dispersion, this is easily one of the most accurate vehicles I've ever driven. Even the E50, for example, which has 0.3 accuracy, and I'm pretty sure the aim time is around 2.1, but don't quote me on that. Oh, wrong button. Yeah, 2.1. Even though that this is technically less accurate, it must be something with the soft stats, because this gun does not feel as accurate as the T-62A's gun. Another cool thing, it's not really important, but it's another cool thing, is that the T-62A is extremely good at firing on the move. I think it's because of the soft stats on the gun. By soft stats, I mean like dispersion values on the move values, turret rotation values, which pretty much affects the bloom, which is the big circle on your reticle. It affects that. So if a tank has really bad soft stats, the gun handling is going to be massive, like a T-49 or a KV-2, for example. But if it has really good soft stats, then it'll be very shrunk, I guess that's the word. At least that's, to my understanding, that's how it works. As for equipment on this tank, I definitely recommend you run vents, rammer, and vertical stabilizer. This is probably going to start a debate, but it's kind of a losing one. So the difference between a vertical stabilizer and an enhanced gun laying drive, if you look at the vertical stabilizer, it says plus 20% to accuracy during movement and turret rotation. So it's all the time, because you're always going to be moving, and even if you're not moving, you were moving just a second ago, so you're still getting that 20% buff. The enhanced gun laying drive is 10% increase to aim speed. So since this tank has a 2-second aim time, right, 2 second? Yeah. Since this tank has a 2-second aim time, if I were to mount a enhanced gun laying drive, that would improve my my aim time by 0.2. Okay, so that would make my total aim time 1.8 seconds. So a vertical stabilizer, seeing as that's 20%, that would improve my aim time by 0.4. So that would mean I would have a 1.6 second aim time at all times. So not only is the vertical stabilizer better when you're stopped, it's also better on the move, because this does not come into effect until, I'm pretty sure it's not even instant either. I think it does take a few milliseconds, I guess, to come into effect. I guess it'd be a couple hundred milliseconds then, wouldn't it? I don't know. So the enhanced gun laying drive is pretty much worse than the vertical stabilizer in almost any situation. The only time you want to mount a gun laying drive, GLD, is on something like a tier 10 tank destroyer, which you can't mount, well, at least this one you can't. You can't mount a vertical stabilizer on it. But even then, you still want to mount a vertical stabilizer on it, because that's a 20% increase rather than a 10% increase to aim time. So pretty much what I'm saying is the only time you mount a GLD is when you can't mount a vert stab. And most of the time when you can't mount a vert stab, it might also be a good idea to mount optics. The T-54 lightweight's a bit weird about it. I like to mount a rammer, a vertical stabilizer, and coated optics because it's a light tank. But tanks like the T-20, that gets a vertical stabilizer. I think the EZ-8 also does. The Cromwell I mounted optics on. Most of my tanks I don't have GLDs on. One that I do is the T-3045, but to be entirely honest, I played that so long ago that I was probably making a wrong decision. But anyway, so that's the equipment I recommend you mount on it. Is vents, a rammer, and a vertical stabilizer. Optics are okay, but you generally don't want to sacrifice the gun handling for it, because you're only getting, what is that? Oh, rip. Press the wrong button. It's 10%, right? Yeah, 10%. So it is an extra 40 meters of view range, which is huge. I have that on my FCM, but I also have a vertical stabilizer. So I mean, optics I guess are a viable choice, just it's not really the meta right now. The view range has kind of been a bit not underpowered, but it's not as powerful as it used to be. It's still good though. So if you like spotting stuff, that's good. I would recommend you do that at tier 8 on tier 8 tanks though, not so much tier 10s, because tier 10s you have a duty to fulfill. You have to do a lot of damage. So anyway, let's get into the first replay. Alright guys, here's the first replay. We spawned, what is it, south on Abbey, and let's get right into it. So the first thing I looked at was the team lineups. We have 2 tier 10 heavies. They have 4 tier 10 mediums to our 5. So we have heavy advantage. So I assume that we're gonna win the 1-2 line. However, our T-57 is like the worst player of all time. I think he legitimately has a 40% win rate, and I think he averages like 600 damage in the T-57. I don't know how, but anyway, yeah. So that's where the gun depression on the 62A is a bit of a fail. I tried to get up there to take some shots at the Action X, but I failed there, which is fine. It's not like that's gonna break the game. So I come down here with the STB. I see it, the Type 62's there. I shoot right into his upper plate. I was still moving, so the vertical stabilizer was in effect. So I come up here, and I'm gonna try to put some pressure on the Action X. I get hit by the 59 Patton, so I have no shots at those guys. So I want to run away. Oh, I didn't realize that's Platinum Nios. It's cool. So I'm just trying to get away from the situation. I see that our STB is not doing too great back there, and 2 tier 10 mediums are pushing on my 140, who's already pretty much dead. So I just want to get out of there. This was not a great play by me. I shouldn't have come up into the middle at all. I should have left the second that the 140 was getting pushed. I do have the Tortoise and the Yak Panther 2 supporting me, so at least if the Action X and the STB, the Action X and the Patton try to come after me, they'll be there to help. So our T-57 managed to die against an Object 140 and an E4 and whatever. I don't know how that's a thing, but yeah. So we lost the 8 line. Though our Conqueror and our T-28 prototype are doing their best to hold them back, but that's an inevitable failure. So I see that we have a pretty good advantage on this flank, so I want to come over and just clean up whatever's left. If you ever see something like this where your team pretty much has a flank secured, they just need that little extra push, and you're in a fast tank, it's almost always a good idea to go and try to help them out. It really can't hurt if you have the tank advantage. It really can't hurt. That STB, I don't know. I could have dived onto him, but my tank probably would have been sacrificed, and sacrificing 1735 health for 135. It is a tier 10 medium, but so am I. It just doesn't seem like a good trade. So I see the Borsig fire. I know he has the big gun because of the way that the way that it hit the ground. It was like very poofy. So that's a surprise. The Action X, he cut me off. So I had HE ready to go for the Borsig. So I know that I'm gonna have to fight this Action X. He's not gonna back off. So I just reload the APCR now and pretend like I'm trying to wiggle, I guess. So this is where I try to use the very, very powerful turret of the 62A. I side-scrape out. He probably could have saw my rear, I don't know. But I used the turret, which, like I said, is pretty much impenetrable. It's so rare that you get hit by things that pen the turret. I can't even remember the last time I was penned in the turret. So I see this Borsig coming at me, so I hit him right through the track. He bounces heat off my turret. I don't know why I fired at my turret or my side, whatever. But yeah, he was a fool. So I should have rammed him, but the TVP got the kill anyway. So right now I see the Action X down there, and I was about to go after him, but then I was like, no, I need to go and reset the cap right now. Most likely the Action X left anyway. So I actually didn't see the Action X, even though I did, like, turn my camera for a second. But, I didn't really see him. I think my brain was like, oh, there's a dude, but I was like, nah, it's fine. It's all good, fam. Okay, so what I do now is that I see that the T-34 and the TVP are trying to push onto the Patton, and the Patton KR is actually in the middle, which is kind of weird, but I ignore him. I don't go after him because I need to reset cap. Even though there is 26 seconds right now, I don't want to play around. It's, what if I miss like 80 times, you know? So the E4 was ready for me. I just snapped a shot. Most likely it's going to do something. If it that's how good the 62A's gun is. You can pretty much snap those kind of shots very, very easily. So I wait till I go on lit, and then I poke back out. But I know that the Patton is there, so he probably is going to be able to proxy spot me. If I get too close. I don't think we're in proxy spotting distance now. We might be. If we are, we're on the very, very edge. But the E4 is not a great player anyway, so he's not really doing anything. So now I'm 1v3, which is it's a tough situation. So what I wanted to do here was just see if the Patton was going to rush me, and he does push, but it's not a very good push. And I don't like fighting Patton KRs. They're annoying. Their turret is so weird. Like, their armor layout's just so weird. So I could have aimed that a lot better, but I didn't. See, here I was gonna go for the artillery, but I decided against it because the cap's under pressure. So I wait till I'm unspotted, turn around, that way they think I'm going that way. I was hoping that the Patton was gonna try to get up into the Abbey, so I could shoot at him and have the, well, he would have the upper ground, or the high ground, but I would have the low ground. But I'm trying not to trade too much HP with the Patton. So, like I said, I go in very, very carefully, because I don't want to get shot for no reason. So, I come right back over here. Patton KR proxies me. And I quickly poke out. E4 is ready. I snap it again. That was a bit more dangerous, but it worked. So, whatever. So, I got the reset off. So now I know that this Patton needs to die. So, because he's causing way too many problems. So I just aim that shot right into his upper hull. I know that I can reload twice as fast as he can, pretty much. I angle, he misses the shot, because he was probably pressured. Here's my big problem. There's one person on cap. Now there's two. So I instantly panic. I don't know why. This lost me the game right here. Sorry for the spoiler. But I didn't go up to the Abbey, and I didn't use my view range on the F line. I wouldn't have been spotted because the Patton, he wasn't there anymore. So I made the mistake of going down here. Now I'm going to get a little bit salty in chat here, but just try to ignore it, because I was convinced that I was like making this game work how it did, but I didn't. I played it wrong. So I thought they were going to be over there, so I tried to use my gun depression. I'm just gonna pause it here. So I got a little bit salty there in chat for a moment. Oh my god, that's bright. There. That's a bit nicer. So I got a bit salty there in chat. Understandably, I would hope, because, you know, I didn't want to lose after having a game like this. 4,172 damage, that's a great result for me. Yeah, I'm just, if I would have gone up to the Abbey on that ledge over there, I think I would have been able to win it, because, what's that, about 300 meters? I have 400 meters view range. Artillery has very good camo, so I don't know if I would have been able to pull that off, but E4 had most of the cap points. Yeah. Alright, stop being negative. Let's get on to the next replay. and we will see how I work that one out. Alright guys, here's the second replay, also the last replay, because I like to have two. I usually like to have one pretty good replay, that way you can see how the tank plays, and also one like really good replay. But unfortunately, the 62A is kind of tough for me to get a very good game in, like 6K plus. That's what I would consider very good for me. Because, I mean, doing 6K damage in this is kind of rare anyway, for me. I was going to pull one of my old replays, but that was from patch 9.9, and no, that's not, no. Alright, let's just get into the replay then. So, Stalingrad, probably one of the most community-hated maps for some reason. I don't mind it too much. I think a lot of people don't like it because they don't know how to play it, but I don't mind it too much. It is kind of corridory, but the reason that I don't mind it is because there's so many flanking opportunities. Like over here, you can go this way, you can go this way, you can be here sniping over here, you can go over here, you can chill behind this wall and go over here, you can go behind this wall and go over here. Over here, you can cut through here, there's a little wall here, which I'm about to use over here. There's so many flanking opportunities, and I don't understand why people hate this map. So there, you can see me misjudge that hill, and my gun depression just says no. You can leave. So I'm wiggling back and forth. There's no artillery, so that this spot is very powerful. I think if we go into a free cam here and zoom out, all they can see is my turret. And if they're a bit taller, they might be able to see some of my hull, but mostly they can only see my turret. That's what you want to aim for. My turret, well, not if you're fighting one, but you want to make sure that your turret is as small as possible.
Shit.
So, the IS-7 armor is so weird. I fired between the tracks in the spaced armor, but it said, oh, you want to damage him? Pfft. You can go, do something. I don't know. So, I see the STI coming around. It looks like he's pretty tunnel visioned at that bat chat, so I'm gonna take advantage of that. So I see that he fires. I'm not really worried. So I just start taking shots, because why not? He's dead. That was a good damage farm right there. So I can see that we clearly have an advantage here. We have the IS-7, the bat chat, me, a T-32, a T-10, a waffle, a 4005, and something else back there. A Jaeger. Okay. So we pretty much have like every big TD. We have every TD on our team there. And that was a stupid shot, but whatever. I should have aimed for the track. We have a massive advantage over here, and if you look at the beach, they do not. So we need to make a push happen. We can't just sit here and trade one for one, because that's stupid. We need to all push at once, because we have a massive advantage. And if you all push at once, you have the numbers advantage, so it's not going to be 1-to-1. It's going to be more like 1-to-2 or 1-to-3, depending on how many tanks you have. IS-7, he comes around. I would do the same exact thing in his position. He knows he's going to die. He knows the flank's going to lose, so he might as well just get as much damage as possible. I don't think he gets another shot in. So I shoot him right through the track. That's always a very good thing to shoot or a very good place to shoot an IS-7. Type 4s, I don't know. I haven't fought enough of them where I can reliably go to the weak spots like I can with IS-7s or E100s, even though those weak spots are kind of more noticeable. Type 4s, I like comparing it to a VKB. Not because they're the same strength, they're not at all. I think the VKB is much stronger because it only has one real weak spot that you can hit frontally. I like to compare them because they're both very difficult to pen. At least for me. You guys might not have too much trouble. I know that they're heat magnets because they're so flat. This play I'm not proud of. The ISU's there. I could have gotten hit there, but luckily the IS-7 bails me out. This is what I was talking about with the T-62A being so good at firing on the move. There's one. Okay, we'll consider that a lucky shot. 2 in a row. You can't consider that lucky. Come on. That right there is soft stats. So the T-44 is begging for a reset, and I was gonna reset anyway. It's actually just now I realized. Look at that 3. So good. Love this tank. So we have 14 seconds. We have plenty of time. But I just want to get the reset out because it's better for me to get the reset out now and kill myself than it is for me to not get the reset and farm a lot of damage, which I end up doing anyway. At least for me, it's a lot. IS-3, I just take the hit. I'm not worried about it. It's the end of the game. I don't need it. We have plenty of help on our team. I think if I would have burned the repair kit, I might have gotten an extra shot of damage, but it's really not important, to me at least. So, I end this game, I'm just going to speed up through the rest of it. I end this game with 4,400 damage and 4 kills. That's a really good result for me. A little bit more than 4793 WN8, because that's a low ball estimate. I think that was a pretty strong win. I'm not going to completely say I was the reason that we won, because I'm sure that who else was back there? I think the IS-7 was there with me, so he probably would have been able to get the reset, but it was helpful that I was there to get the reset. So yeah, this tank is really, really fun. It's easily one of my top 2 favorite tanks. Either this or the E5. I can't make a decision. They're both so good. This is probably going to be my favorite once the E5 gets nerfed, because I know it's going to. Wargaming already said they're going to, which makes me very, very sad, but it's whatever. Alright, let's go back to the garage and take a quick overview. Alright, so final thoughts. The T-62A, like I said, it's my top 2 favorite. Or it's one of my 2 favorites, I guess, would be a better way of doing it. This or the E5. I love them both. I put my permanent camo on here, my very first permanent camo, because I love the E5 so much. Though for the Mark of Excellence, I am higher for the 62A, but obviously for damage per game, I'm higher on the E5. They're different tanks, and I like them for that. Now for the promised 140 62A comparison. Personally, I prefer the 62A, obviously, because it's my top 2 favorite, or one of my 2 favorites. The 140, I've honestly thought about selling it multiple times, but it's not because I don't enjoy the tank, or it's not because it's not a good tank. It is a good tank. I just don't enjoy it. The module health on this tank, I cannot deal with it. It almost feels like every time I play it, my ammo rack gets damaged, or I get lit on fire, or worse, my ammo rack explodes. It feels like almost every single game that I've had a big impact in, I was ammo racked for some of it, or I've had one game, it was Fisherman's Bay, I remember it distinctly. I was on the house, and I was shooting into town, and I backed up, and I guess I backed up a little bit too far, got shot in the side, my ammo rack exploded, 1400 health gone, and it was first 2 minutes. Plus the turret, it's not reliable enough for me. There's 2 weak spots on there, and this entire roof is very weak, so people can just shoot you right here and penetrate almost every single time. Don't get me wrong though, the hull armor is very powerful. You can side scrape really well with this because of the way that it's angled. You can see that it's kind of like a slash, so you get more angling out of it. The frontal armor is pretty troll. My 62A has trouble penning it sometimes, but that's probably more to do with my retarded aiming than anything. It does have this cool minigun. I think the tank is pretty. I like the way it looks. I really do. I just don't like driving it. I've thought about selling it multiple times because that's going to give me about, what was that? I'm going to wait for that sale to end. But it's going to give me over 3.3 million credits, which I could use to put towards another tier 10 that I want, like the T-57 Heavy or the E-50M. But at the same time, I don't want to sell tier 10 because that's a stupid decision. Anyway, It could be the crew skills. That's one thing I've thought about, because this has almost 5 crew skills now. This only has the one in its training BIA, which everyone tells me not to, but whatever. So I would recommend you get the 62A first, because the extra degree of gun depression, it's not really worth it, in my opinion. The unreliable turret, it's not as good. I would much rather have a 5 kilometer per hour slower tank. 5 kilometers is kind of nice, but it's not worth it for me. So the 62A, in my opinion, is the better tank. I know there's at least one person that agrees with me there. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna end the review there, because I really don't have too much more to say. I've pretty much gone over everything I can think of at the moment. Yeah, so if you guys want to see more content like this, leave a like. If you want to see, I'm going to be trying to upload every 4 to 5 days. I don't want to upload every day, because that's kind of stressful. Plus I have to get the footage for the stuff, which I get myself. Lower tier tanks, it's not necessarily a problem, but higher tier, it's a bit more difficult. So if you want to see more content like this, like I said, leave a like. I'm going to be trying to upload every 4 days, so subscribe if you want to see some of that. Anything else? I don't think so. Oh yeah, if you want to see a specific tank in my garage, hopefully one that has 2 marks on it, you can tell by this like percentage here. If it's higher than 85 or around 85, I most likely have it. So if you guys want, you can pause and take a look. Any of these tanks I can do a review on. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for the next one.